Wait, let me see. Whoop. Sorry, I was moving the wrong camera here. So yeah, so this is how we create a quick scene. We have a neighborhood, and then because the modern buildings are actually really easy, they're really simple, mostly blocks. If you take a look at the references, they're mostly blocks, so we can just set them up with texture later and just have different variations. Yep. So that's how you block out a scene. It's sort of like a sketch, and then you can quickly have a sense of scale and dimension inside. Okay, so that is all for this lesson. I'll see you guys next class. Bye for now. Okay, now that our neighborhood is done, we can start adding in the people to see the scale, as well as to detail out a little bit of the core part of our scene. So first, let's go to this. Let's call it, yeah, the main props, and then we can detail out this by adding in the necessary details, such as I'm gonna start easily cut out some window so we can see the person once we add in add them in. So then here, because we need a little top to place the banner, and then just delete that, and then we can select the edges. Just quickly we can create something like that. Okay, great. And now we can go back to one of our old files and then just click on the person as well as the eyeball. So then we have a person with an eye, and for this we can call this actors. So this will be our actors inside. Let's put this to the top. So that's our actor. Let's bring her out. So that's one of the actors, and we can make another copy. So we have two actors, since we have two of them. Then we can go here and just hide one of them for now, and let's go to the shaders and just delete everything. So we have a nice and plain model. Good. And now with this, we can also move the bones here. It's actually really easy to move, but there's an easier way. We go back to where we imported our DAZ, the diffeomorphic setting, and then we go to rigging, and then let's select the bone here and convert to MHX, and then take the finger IK and then click OK. So now our bones are transformed into the MHX rig, which is that we can move by the end of our hands. So rather than going from the to the shoulder to the arm and then to the hands, we can directly move the hands and thus moving the arms. So this is the inverse kinematic way of moving the rig, as well as like the hands are in place while we move our people, and notice how the feet are in place too, so we can much easier animate or pose them. Okay, so now let's drag the person here and turn her 90 degree. And let's go to pose. And here. Let's just turn off everything for now. So we just get this. And then, yeah, just position her so she is sort of like she's sitting. It's a really rough model, so we don't have to, you know, make it so detailed to be exact or anything, because we'll be doing a pose chapter later. So for now, we're sort of going ahead into our plan, but don't worry, because this is just really simple, and it's like a warm-up for what's to follow. So don't worry about that. And then that's the twist. So everything is like this. Is really intuitive. You have this controlling the head, the second neck, and the base of the neck. And then here you can also control it like that. And then the parts where you can't go beyond, it'll stop. Say, for example, this stops at a certain point. So just like DAZ Studio, some parts are locked to make the model more realistic. So you don't have to worry about having it go over where it's anatomically not possible. Although there are cases like that. For example, the arm can go backwards. So yeah, just have to be careful with that. But other than that, everything else is pretty well set up. So that's for the hand. There's a lot of twist going on. So what I want here is to have her touching the window. So she's twisted this way and have her like that. Yep. And then this is like that. And you can also maybe make her lie down a little bit more, like that. So it's actually really fun, and you can go ahead and just experiment with the poses for now. So now she's inside. And we can have her hand go here and maybe grab one of the legs like that. So it doesn't look too awkward. And then for some of the pieces, you know, you can grab and rotate, and then grab and move. And for some pieces, you can just grab and move, since rotate does nothing. It's locked, so it doesn't matter anyways. So it takes a while to get used to, but you'll realize that this kind of rig is a lot easier to work with, because in case that we want to move our body again, right? Our hand's pretty much in place, and it moves according to what is almost physically correct. So like that, and this can be moved like that. So it makes that she's really looking towards the character. We'll add the second character in just in a minute. And maybe she's like a little tilting her head a bit to like, wait, who is this? She looks just like me. Kind of that look. And then for the hands, we can just grab that and just rotate it to grab. I'm not gonna get too detailed into how to pose this, right? Because there's some ways of unhiding sections of the bone to make the pose even more detailed. But for now, it's nice to have this to experiment with. Okay, so this is almost complete. We just make it a little more varied. Maybe have her foot sticking up against the glass a little. Whoops. Or like that. And then this can be like that. So she's like leaning against it. Or like on top. Yeah, this will make the pose even more dynamic, maybe. Like that. And then we can move this over a bit. And also move this over a bit. We don't want to move that because the hand is already in place. Okay, so that's the basic. We can hide the bones here. And then now let's open up the other one. And same as before, let's find this and convert this to MHX. Press OK. All right. Let's grab that and then rotate this 180 degree so she's facing the machine. And then for her, we want her to be leaning forward. So leaning, and then maybe with her butt a little raised, and this mostly the neck and the head. Let's put the hands in place first so that we can get a better picture of where the body should be. So when you're, for those who've played Claw Machine before, you have just one button, and then you have this thing where you control the claw to go left and right, and then you hit the main button, then the claw goes down and it proceeds to grab onto whatever you're trying to buy. But it never worked for me, so yeah. Okay, so let's move this higher. It's like they're touching. It's like, whoa, I really want this inside. And the person's like, hey, her hand's here. Let's reach for it. It's usually the kind of things do when people are like seeing each other in the mirror. It's like a mirror pose almost. Okay, for this, let's move her back a little. And then for her, go back. Maybe lower the body. See, now the hands are in place and I can just move the body however I want without having to reposition the hands again. And this is what makes it so much better than the old bone rig that we had before. And then for the feet, we can have one of them, you know, stepping backwards. Or actually, I remember this character, she's in heels. So let's give her feet a little bend. Oops, that's a little too far. Yeah, so she's like that. And then for this, it's also like that. But now her legs are bent, so let's like lower this a bit. And have this on the same level as the machine, so it's pretty much there. In the right level. Wow, she's rather tall, right? We're gonna have to change the machine a bit. Okay, so she's really leaning into it. And then maybe raised shoulders, so it's like more anxious. You know, when our shoulders are raised, it means we're more tense. And then she's looking, turning a little towards the left, because right now she's looking off into the distance. It's like, whoa. And then this person's like, whoa. Okay, great. Now we should raise the machine a little bit. See, now when we place the actual person here, we realize the scale, what we had in mind, are a little bit off, but that's fine. Maybe have it here. So it's always neat to have like a person for scale, right? And once, you know, we have this person that we imported and set up the bones and everything, we can always now use this as like a holding place for our other characters in the scenes we do in the future. So that's something really neat. Yeah, her hands can be a little more raised, so it's like not completely like touching, or else it gets a little cheesy, right? Like their hands are touching perfectly. We don't want that. We want it to look a little bit more natural. Maybe the body can be a little more laid back because she's leaning against the glass. That's looking really laid back for now. Whoa. Okay, both of them are ready. And now we can show our entire scene. And that's pretty much what the sketch was. And then you have like the characters that are looking at each other. It's really fine, really interesting. Of course, the pose we will refine later, but for now, I think we have the idea. Let's move this forward a little so we get that. And yeah, for the camera we can increase the focal length so we encompass more of the scene here. Yeah, let's try 40. Yeah, 40 looks about what we had before. Let's open this up and check. Yep, pretty cool. And then we can check this again to see that the lighting is okay. Okay, right. We still have to add the final light in there. Right? What we do is go back to the render view. Let's go to light and add an aerial light. And we'll move this light here. So aerial light is like a plane light. And it's pretty much like what the light is inside the claw machine. So let's have that sticking right up into the ceiling. Position that center. Okay, like that. And we can make the spread a little lower so it's not spreading wildly within this alcove. And then let's give it the iconic pink color. Okay, cool. I don't think I removed. Yeah. Okay, now the color is looking more correct. And for the eyeball, I'm gonna click the eyeball and just remove all that. So now it's so she is also a mannequin. All right, control save. All right, now that our sketch scene is all set up, we can proceed next to start placing our camera for the next chapter. But as you can see, now that our 3D scene is placed, we have a better idea of the sense of space and scale and everything, and we can move around more to look at the scene and to experience it in 3D space. All right, guys, I will see you guys next class. Bye-bye for now.